A severe thunderstorm warning is impacting parts of Litchfield County tonight. Thanks for joining us for the Fox 61 News at 10. I'm Brent Harden.
And I'm Sarah Sanchez. Let's get right over to Chief Meteorologist Rachel Frank for all the latest on this. Rachel, what are you seeing?
Well, most of the state will stay storm-free tonight, but there is a little sliver right now of Litchfield County, Sharon, Salisbury that are getting quite a storm. Again, you can see the big picture. Most of us are not only storm-free, but rain-free. This severe thunderstorm warning is in effect until 10:30. Right now, it's moving east out of Salisbury into Canaan next in about 2 minutes or so, and then it will head through Norfolk at around 10:15 and Winsted at around 10:30 or so. We'll see if it survives the journey into northern Hartford County. It should start to weaken in intensity, but I can't rule out some leftover downpours and rumbles of thunder. It's so warm outside tonight. There is some instability. So most of the state stays rain-free over the course of the next few hours, but then we'll see this next batch of dying showers and storms overnight, and that will bring us a renewed chance for some rain as we head towards daybreak tomorrow. So a little bit of a damp start, clouds break for sun, and then we'll see some late day showers and storms tomorrow, but it's another very warm day before temperatures cool back in a big way. We'll check in on the storm threat, and we'll talk more about the temperature drop coming up.
All right, Rachel, thank you. All new here at 10, state legislators are considering their options to make Connecticut more affordable.
Fox 61's Tim Lateau explains how the largest proposed tax cut could help you save while shopping.
Think you're paying too much for clothes? Some Connecticut lawmakers do. The General Assembly could now decide to completely eliminate a 6% sales tax on clothes and shoes.
Try to go to like Civil Regime. I also like Von Dutch. I love clothing brands that are like that. PacSun's really good for you to kind of be able to find those like name brand clothing without having to pay a crazy price.
PageView knows all the clothing stores to go to get the best deals. But a proposed tax cut from the State Assembly's Finance, Revenue, and Bonding Committee might make it easier for people to choose where to shop and what to buy. Debbie Twitchell is hopeful that middle-class families like hers can catch a break on their spending.
There's so little that's done for the middle class, and I think anything, for the middle class and lower is really, really strongly needed.
Sales taxes could also be eliminated on non-electronic school supplies, energy-efficient appliances, and certain supermarket goods. Robin Liucci says all too often people want to buy something but change their mind after they see the price tag.
Makes a big difference whether you want to buy something or not buy something. Because when you know you got to pay the taxes on it, sometimes you just put it back because you don't want to pay that extra fee.
While there's a 6% sales tax in Connecticut, that's not the case in Massachusetts. Liucci says she's even gone to Holyoke to get big shops done to dodge the tax.
It may cost a few pennies more in gas, but the savings, especially when you're buying clothes and stuff like that for each different season, it's worth the trip to go up there.
Rebecca Kwasnick thinks that small, locally owned businesses and malls in Connecticut will benefit if shoppers are able to purchase more.
People would probably buy more things if there's less sales tax because they're getting more product versus paying it in tax.
So after the General Assembly approves of their proposed budget, Governor Ned Lamont and top lawmakers have until May 6th to negotiate a compromise budget for the fiscal year that begins in July. In Enfield, Tim Lateau, Fox 61.
We have an update now on a story we brought you as breaking news earlier. West Hartford police say no threat was found at West Farms Mall. Officers responded this evening after an anonymous caller threatened an employee, but police say there were no victims and no sign of any disturbance. The investigation remains active, and anyone with information is asked to contact West Hartford Police. And a quiet Plainville neighborhood is now filled with grief and remembrance as neighbors come together to honor a family lost in a tragic and still unfolding case.
It's been a few days since 3 people, a mom and her 2 girls, were shot and killed. Police believe the shooter then turned the gun on himself. And tonight their neighborhood is rallying together to remember the lives lost. Fox 61's Victoria Anderson has the story.
Pink ribbons, pink lights, pink flowers line the streets here in Plainville. It's the community's way of honoring the lives lost on what police say was a very dark day.
I don't know. Somebody dropped me off a big bulb.
There was no knock or call or instructions, but Plainville native Tom knew exactly what to do.
Yeah, I got a pink light, and they put pink ribbons on the poles here and there.
The Pops of Pink here on Milford Street is their way of remembering the lives taken right next door.
That's all we can do.
After an hours-long standoff Friday, Plainville police found 4 people, including 2 children, dead inside a family home. The state medical examiner determined 27-year-old Patrick King died from a gunshot wound to the head, while his girlfriend, 31-year-old Felicia Matthews, and her daughters, 12-year-old Melina Matthews and 4-year-old Ava King, died from gunshot wounds to the head. The autopsies ruled their 3 deaths as homicides.
Well, it's been a sad situation where even young children, middle school and other kids and older adults are all stopping by slowly to, have their condolences said.
Cleanup crews worked around a patch of balloons, flowers, and stuffed animals that have bloomed on the home's front steps. An outpouring of love for the family that had just moved here 3 months prior.
There's just something special about Plainville. The people actually care and have their heart invested in things. It's not just, we showed up, we did our bit, and we're done. No, this is their home, and they live it.
Father M. David Dawson with Our Lady of Mercy Catholic Church in Plainville says now is a time to look to our neighbors for comfort as the wait for answers grows with each day.
It should hopefully, the love of God and our neighbors, we should be there for each other, get you to at least that next step, whatever it is.
Police are still investigating the motive behind this incident, and we will bring you more as we learn more information. In Plainville, Victoria Anderson, Fox 61.
The Hartford Police Union says it plans to file multiple grievances against the city after the mayor fired Officer Joseph McNano. Union President James Rutkowski confirmed that information to us today. Mayor Arunan Arulampalam fired Magnano last week after police say he shot Stephen Jones 9 times. Jones died days later. Rutkowski claims there were several violations in how the city handled the termination. He says the union's now reviewing paperwork and will file the grievances once that process is complete. He added he'll provide more information when that happens.
Stratford police say a narcotics investigation has led to an arrest and drug seizures. Last Thursday, officers executed search warrants in Stratford and Bridgeport and took 40-year-old Ernest Samuel into custody. Investigators recovered a loaded revolver, more than 80 grams of heroin and fentanyl and marijuana and cash. Samuel faces multiple drug and firearms charges. He is being held on a $500,000 bond and is due in court April 7th. Well, police have arrested a man in connection with a deadly overdose in Fairfield. They say 22-year-old Connor Duche from Milford provided narcotics to the victim before the overdose and later tampered with evidence at the scene. The victim died from a mix of cocaine, fentanyl, and alcohol. Police say the incident happened at a home on Mill Plain Road in December. Duche turned himself in earlier this month, and he faces 3 charges. None directly accuse him of causing the death.
Let's look at our peer states that have maybe implemented pieces of legislation like this, and did it actually, make the positive change that you wanted? And I think a lot of the feedback is no. I think, we've seen it in other areas, other like cities that have maybe implemented it, and it really does. It hurts both the employer and the employee. It's not actually helping.
A bill currently making its way through the legislature could change the way employers and employees in Connecticut operate, and some say not for the better.
Yeah, it would require employers give consistent schedules 2 weeks in advance, and if they cancel or change shifts, employers could be fined.
Fox 61's Annette Montgomery tells us why hospitality leaders say this bill would do more harm than good.
Legislators who introduced this bill say they want to help employees have consistent schedules and control over the unpredictables in their life that could impact their jobs. But local leaders say employers already do that, and this bill leaves no room for flexibility. Scott Dolch, the president of the Connecticut Restaurant and Hospitality Association, told me plainly to always have a consistent schedule for every single employee 14 days out with no modifications is nearly impossible in the hospitality industry, especially when there are other unpredictable factors like blizzards and snowstorms, large parties, or an employee who has to take bereavement days. He says we don't want to make it more difficult for business owners by not allowing flexibility, and we don't want to hinder staff by potentially shortening the number of people and giving less opportunities to employees because you can't change their schedule last minute. And that's what he fears this will do.
When you're running a business, you obviously don't know what tomorrow is going to bring. We learned that wholeheartedly during COVID. Also, there's caveats within this bill about when you interview someone, you have to give them a schedule ahead of time, and you can't deviate from that schedule. I mean, you don't have a crystal ball as a business owner. At the end of the day, you're going to bring in as many employees as you can to run your business.
Dolt says for business owners in the hospitality and restaurant industries, their employees are their family and they want to be able to help them, as well as make sure they have the flexibility needed to successfully run their business. He believes lawmakers can pass more helpful legislation for employees and employers. From the Capitol, Annette Montgomery, Fox 61.
Well, the Yukon men are just one win away from playing for a national championship. The Huskies are set to take on Illinois in the Final Four on Saturday. Head coach Dan Hurley says this moment won't be too big for this group. The Huskies have already faced two of the Final Four teams this season, which gives them a level of familiarity and confidence that he believes will help.
You know, we've played two of the teams that are in the tournament, and you know, we're confident in our ability to to go out there and have as good a chance as anyone in the Final Four. So yeah, I just think maybe being under the radar, it's the way, that chip on your shoulder at Yukon. It's always a good thing.
The game against Illinois tips off Saturday at 6:09 p.m. at Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis.